Welcome back into episode 2 of KCEN Kickoff. My name is Ethan Love, and we're going to have some guests this week. Sarah Smith, our producer, and Sydney Wicker will be joining us as well. She does everything sports for us here at the station to talk about college football. But first, we're going to talk some baseball. And I know last week we had mentioned that the Rangers would need to win like 7 of the next 9 games last week in order to make a push for the postseason, and they've done just that. They've taken care of business against the Angels. They swept the A's, and now they're in a series with the Diamondbacks where they have a chance at the time of this recording to win that series 2 out of 3. But what's coming up next on the Rangers schedule is a series against the Houston Astros and the Milwaukee Brewers and the Mets, and then back again to the Astros, which is a very tough stretch. The Rangers currently sit 1.5 games at the time of this recording, back from the Mariners in the American League wild card, and again, they sit 4.5 games back of the Houston Astros. So again, 2 big series against the Astros to gain ground there in the division if possible. And hey, the Rangers aren't out of the division or the wild card race right now as we head through September. And the biggest thing for me is the fact that it's the young guys that have stepped up in the place of injuries. There's no Adolis Garcia. There's no Nathan Eovaldi. There's no Marcus Semien. I would say probably for the first time the entire season, this little stretch, they look excited. They look genuinely excited to win and to go out there and make plays, which is really all you could ask for as a Rangers fan. They've made it interesting all season, and we'll see if they can get it done on this little playoff push that they have going right now. But let's go ahead and get into a really early, well, it's not that early, a World Series pick as it's next month. October baseball is here. And I'm going to go with the NL, the Brewers. They're the best team in baseball right now, and it's really now or never for Milwaukee. They seem to be this team kind of like the Guardians and the Twins where, yeah, they make the playoffs, they're good, but they never take that extra step and actually go and win a World Series. And so the Brewers have positioned themselves now. They've played well against the Dodgers. The Phillies are hurt. Zach Wheeler is out for the season there. The Brewers have really positioned themselves to be kind of the team in the NL, and if they can go out and execute in October, I think it's this season or really never for them. And over to the AL, really the Blue Jays stand out over anyone else in the American League. At the top of the rotation, they have the guys. They have Kevin Gausman. They have Shane Bieber, who they acquired earlier this year at the trade deadline. And then that lineup rakes. And if you think back to October baseball in Toronto, yeah, the Blue Jays have always had a great fan base turn out for them. You just think 2016 with Bautista and everything. I know that was against the Rangers. But yeah, Toronto looks good, and in a division where it's never easy in the AL East. You have Boston, you have New York, the Rays are always good. And then the Orioles, I know they've had a down year, but they're pesky too. They're not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination there. So Toronto, I think, is battle-tested throughout the regular season as well. And so it'll be a fun World Series to see. You know, we got Yankees-Dodgers last year, which is great for the ratings, right? It's great for the sport of baseball. But, you know, it's always good to see these teams that don't really make noise too often get there. And so that's my pick, Blue Jays and Brewers. But we're going to take a step back from baseball, and we're going to look at the crazy college football weekend that we had this past week, and then look ahead to the NFL season because that starts tomorrow. And who isn't excited for NFL? It's going to be Eagles-Cowboys kicking off too, which is going to be completely awesome. And so right after this break, we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Welcome back to KCEN Kickoff here on 6 Plus. Our guests have joined me now. We have Sydney Wicker and Sarah Smith. Guys, thank you for joining me today. And let's just get right into the wild week of college football that we had. But we'll start
week one.
Yeah. But let's start here in Central Texas. Is it time to hit the panic button on Baylor if they lose to SMU this weekend, Sydney?
Yeah, and Locked on Baylor this week, I really talked about how this was a must-win game for Baylor. This team has so many big goals. They want to win the Big 12. They want to be in the college football playoff conversation. I think this is one of their best years to do it. If they don't do it now, I don't know when you're going to see a Baylor team compete. I don't know if next year would be the year to do it, just knowing how much they're going to lose after this year. It sucks losing a guy like Jackie Marshall, who's really like the quarterback of the defensive room. But yeah, this is a must-win game. And if Baylor doesn't if they lose to SMU, they have to play perfect from here on out. And just with how tough the Big 12 schedule can be, I think that this is a must-win game.
And when we were talking about it earlier, if they lose this game to SMU, they're staring down 1-3 in the headlights because, you got Samford or whatever, but Arizona State right after that.
Tough. So thankfully you host Arizona State, but I mean, what did that really do for you when you played Auburn? It's so far we've seen a better Arizona State team than we have seen an Auburn team. So you're only looking at tougher competition down the road.
Yeah, Sarah?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet. I'm kind of in the middle. Obviously, their offense looked really good. Sawyer Robertson looked great. Over 400 passing yards. It's definitely apparent that that Baylor can get something going on offense. I think defensively, if they can fix the mistakes that they made, like really focusing on special teams, like that kick six from Auburn, I think really demoralized the team and probably gave Auburn that edge to finish out the game really strong. I think this will be really telling if Baylor can rebound and actually make changes, if we can see those changes on defense in the SMU game.
I think that was really key, like last year when they had lost to Iowa State. That was one of their last losses before they went on their 6-game win streak. And really what changed the dynamic was how the leaders really stepped up in the locker room that week. I know Josh Cameron was a guy who literally threw his helmet down in practice and was like, guys, we got to wake up. And to have a guy like Josh, to have guys like Keaton Thomas, vocal leaders in that room, I think this week we're going to see that from them. Some kind of response, whether that's a close game against SMU or a loss. But hopefully if Baylor gets a win, things will look better for them and they'll be able to focus more on what's to come after this because it really doesn't get easier from here on out.
Yeah, and kind of just to piggyback off you, Sydney, Sawyer Robertson looked great.
It was all defense.
They couldn't tackle.
Your quarterback throws for 400 yards and you can't get a stop. Are you kidding me? Like, what more can you ask for out of your offense?
And then you look at Coach Aranda too. He's a defensive coach, and it's like, okay,
who is literally helping? And he is the defensive coordinator.
And theoretically, you have all offseason to prepare for this too. And it's like, really, this is the showing we put up right now.
You knew Auburn's rushing attack was going to be what you'd have to stop.
Yeah.
They have a lethal wide receivers out there, but gosh, they have such good running backs. Like, even just looking to a season ago, I know they lost Jarquez Hunter, but that guy was unreal. He was great in the SEC last year, great for Auburn, and you know that they're just going to keep reloading that. So it didn't come as a surprise to me that Auburn's rushing attack is what stood out. It did surprise me, though, how poorly Baylor's defense looked.
Yeah, and another surprisingly poor weekend, staying in Texas, Arch Manning did not look great against Ohio State. Sydney, I know this was a tough watch for you being a Michigan fan and seeing Ohio State come out with the win here, but what did you see from Arch? Are you ready? Are you kind of out on him now after that performance, or what are you feeling?
Not 100%, but definitely didn't look good. Yeah. I do want to emphasize just how hard it is to play in the shoe. I mean, that was a sellout game, week one. I mean, clearly it was a defensive battle. We didn't see much from either offense in that game. 21 combined points in that one. So, I don't give up on Arch completely, but I think it was a wake-up call. This guy is only a sophomore. He only played in a couple games last year, and a lot of those situations where we'd see him come in for Quinn Ewers, it was really just like for touchdown drives or like one play here or there on fourth down, which is really similar to kind of what Michigan did during, like, right before their national championship run, where they would alternate between J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara. So, like, we kind of saw that, but obviously it was a different story once J.J. McCarthy came in as a starting quarterback versus Arch Manning. I just think it's going to take a minute to gain that veteran poise for him. Obviously, like we said, he is really young. He does have a lot of talent. I think looking at the next 3 games on their schedule, definitely doable for a turnaround for him.
Yeah.
And he'll have to figure it out because his first SEC matchup is on the road playing Florida. The Swamp is one of the hardest environments to play in. That was my first SEC experience, actually, was going to a game at the Swamp, and it's for real. And I think that Florida team is a lot scarier than they were last year. So I don't give up on him yet. I do pump the brakes, maybe not talking Heisman this season.
Yeah, those odds absolutely plummeted.
Heisman talks from the beginning, I think, were ridiculous. It's not like he had an impressive last season to kind of build off of that, but I also feel like Texas kind of contributed to maybe the overhyping with all of like the promo videos, like as we all saw before that game, of the video that they made talking about the pressure that he's feeling, and then we see that. We also do have to consider carrying that last name is a huge weight.
Oh, it is for sure.
And putting that pressure on him, I think, can be a little destructive since he is young. We're forgetting that he has time to develop at Texas. He's, like you were mentioning, he's only a sophomore.
Yeah.
Maybe if Texas doesn't have as great of a season this year as they did last year, it's not time to just give up hope and be like, oh my gosh, we're back to being bad or whatever. I think that Arch can really make his place at Texas. And like you were saying, their first SEC matchup is in the Swamp. I think Ohio State gives Arch a great feel for what it's like to be in an environment where it's really hard to play. And so he'll also be going into that game with the experience of playing in an environment like that, which could give him the edge up after he's played a couple games where the stakes aren't as high.
Yeah, and I'm not ready to just put this all on Arch. I think Steve Sarkisian played kind of a role in this game as well. On their first drive where they got to the goal line, they ran it 4 straight times. They did 2 QB runs.
Creative.
Yeah, they did 2 QB runs and then a run up the middle with the running back, and then they tried to do a tush push on 4th down and failed. So
it kind of seems like they didn't trust him in a way, because he was shaky in his pass game from the start, and I get that as a coach, but you also have to kind of
quarterback's confidence. You have 4 attempts. You have 4 attempts.
Yes,
right
here. And that's the thing too.
At least one of those should have been a pass.
Something different.
Like for Steve Sarkisian, you're telling me you don't have one goal line passing play that you've worked on all offseason that you're comfortable with, and that tells me that you don't trust him either.
You just toss it. You don't have to deep ball it or launch it.
And that's my next point. Arch Manning, he would make a ridiculous throw like in the second half. That'd be like, okay, all right, he's back. Yeah. He's warmed up. That's an NFL throw. But the check downs he was missing. He had no touch on Saturday. And he was missing wide open guys on out routes too and
constantly
slants.
Throwing into double coverage
too.
And
he's like, and I understand though wanting to be quick with your throwing motion and trying to get the ball out quickly like that, but it felt like he was just short arming
the pressure that Ohio State brings. Their secondary.
It felt like he was short arming it, and it just did not look good from a coaching standpoint or a quarterbacking standpoint. So they're going to have to go back to the drawing board here, hit the lab, and make some adjustments quickly, because a loss to number 3 Ohio State is not bad. It's not going to kill their playoff chances or anything like that. But hey, all the credit to Ohio State. I know, Sydney, that's tough for you, but I think Julian Sayin felt disrespected in a way that. Okay, the quarterback making his first start was Arch Manning, was getting all the hype. But Julian Sayin's like, hey, that's me too. I'm making my first start and there's no buzz around me. Okay, let me go out and execute, and let me go out and win this game and shift the hype from Texas to our team. I think he felt disrespected in a way. And someone else that felt disrespected, I think, was TCU going up against UNC. All the attention, again, just like the Arch Manning thing I just mentioned, all the attention on Bill Belichick and his debut, and rightfully so. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time, making his collegiate debut. But TCU came out and absolutely spoiled the debut of Bill Belichick at UNC. Guys, what are your thoughts?
And I absolutely loved to see that. Something to note about TCU being disrespected, if anybody watched the pregame show on College Game Day, the only reasoning that the announcers had to pick UNC was Bill Belichick. That was all they had to say. They had nothing to say about UNC's quarterback room, their wide receivers, their defense, their offense. It was only because they were friends with Bill Belichick. That was it. And Desmond Howard was the only person to pick TCU.
Michigan guy.
He believed in us, and it definitely showed. TCU, that is what I expected TCU to look like last season. And they, despite that first drive where I thought we were going to get killed, or I thought TCU was going to get killed because the defense looked super sloppy, the team definitely got it back together. And if TCU can keep up that energy throughout the season, and it wasn't just a fluke, they could really be a contender for a Big 12 title.
I mean, I think they were one of the scariest teams of the Big 12 this week. They really showed out in some of the best ways possible on Locked On Baylor this week. We talked about our winners and losers from the Big 12 of the week, and I was like, if you don't call TCU the winner of the Big 12 this week, what are you talking about? Like, nobody had TCU on their radar one bit, which I really think speaks volumes to their turnaround, but I don't want to overshadow it too much because I just really don't think this is a good UNC team. I think you're looking at a team that maybe puts together 6 wins at best. Like, Bill Belichick came into a program that was already struggling last season. You know, he still doesn't have all the pieces there to make a huge turnaround. So I'm not expecting to see a Bill Belichick group be so elite. I mean, I wanted a good matchup. Everybody wanted a good game. It was on Monday. Like, who doesn't want to? There was nothing else to watch. And TCU just really made a statement in it. So I think TCU showed out a lot, but I think it speaks more volumes to the UNC team that we're going to see instead of the TCU team.
And Sydney, I felt a diss in there. There was nothing else to watch on Monday night.
There was nothing else to watch.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
Sydney was forced to watch TCU football,
I
guys.
changed it after the half, I'm not going to lie, because I was bored.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting the score difference to be that much, because
no one did.
Going into this match for TCU, I kind of felt like it was a trap game because there were multiple games last season where TCU should have come out on top and didn't, and I thought that was going to be the case for this one. Even though it does speak more on UNC's team and Bill Belichick, and they're not going to be successful, I also think we do have to give TCU their flowers, because if you look at the film from last year and compare it to this year,
it was definitely
night and day, and that's what I love to see. We got Andy Avalos back on the sidelines, which I think was the best change for TCU's defense last season. And you could see him there hyping up his guys where it was needed. So
I mean, defense was definitely a story for them in that game. They
were rushing the quarterback the entire game.
Yeah, their offense was really good, but their defense really is what captivated it.
That Bud Clark pick six definitely looked a little familiar. I saw some posts on Twitter of people comparing the two, where he got that pick six in 2022 against Michigan, which I know you're from Michigan. That was still such an elite football game. Sorry to bring that up many years later.
But going off of that, again, I think, it's the offseason was a mess for UNC with everything that happened off the field. I won't get into that much at all, but just having 70 new players, too, and trying to mesh that is a real task. And we saw last night that they could be farther away than a lot of people were expecting. But for TCU, you have to give them credit for coming out and executing when the eyes weren't on them. And it really reminds me of when they played in Coach Prime's coaching debut and they got beat. And this was after the first game after the national championship, where everyone knows what happened, 65-7. And the first game after, TCU's playing Coach Prime in his coaching debut. Very similar type of attention as Bill Belichick. And TCU lost that game when they should have won. They were the ranked team, and they got upset by Colorado. And I think that game gave them motivation for this one to go out and execute and not let the external noise get into the locker room and get into their minds.
I just think, it was a clean slate for them. It was a clean slate for all those guys. And it's kind of nice when you don't have the pressure on your back and you are the underdogs, because nobody expects you to do anything anyway. So why not go out and ball out anyways? And I think that's really what they did.
And speaking of clean slate, Sydney, Micah Parsons has a clean slate in Green Bay. And the NFL season's about to kick off tomorrow on KCEN, by the way. Eagles-Cowboys. So let's get into NFL football right after this quick break. Transitioning from college to the pro football scene, we have the Cowboys and the Eagles kicking off tomorrow on KCEN. You can watch it on our station. I think everyone's going to be tuning into that game, honestly. Two of the biggest brands in the NFL. So we got to talk Cowboys.
Real football's back, too.
Yes.
Real, NFL football. It's not, no more preseason crap. This stuff matters now. Let's go.
This is it. And speaking of the Cowboys, we have to talk about that Micah Parsons trade. That went down.
That broke the internet.
It really broke the internet. I don't think a lot of people really believed that Jerry would make that move and do that. But what do you guys think? Was this the right move for Dallas?
I don't know. I think it was the right move for Micah Parsons. I mean, obviously the drama was there on social media of him expressing how he didn't want to play for Dallas anymore. He wanted out. And Jerry Jones, you never know with him. You never know what is up his sleeve. I feel like at every press conference he's always saying stuff that you might not be able to decode what he's really saying. But
he runs the team his way.
Yeah, that's the truth. I don't know what Dallas is going to look like this season. I don't have high expectations, but I think Micah Parsons is going to have a really fun time in Green Bay. Green Bay is also looking just like a great team overall.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited to see them this season, but I think Dallas is cooked.
The question you wrote specifically on here, Ethan, was it the right move for Dallas? And to that, I also say no. But I agree with you, Sarah. I feel like it was the right move for Micah Parsons. He made it very clear he didn't want to be a part of this organization. He felt disrespected in the conversations that were being had with and without him in rooms and certain people that weren't with him, like his agent. So I think for him it was time to move on. And it sucks because he had quite a big fan base here. And we saw that. A lot of fans reacting.
That little kid,
in frustration.
The video.
Yes, where he was crying. So sweet. But for Dallas, I think, it sucks. Who do you have and how to replace a guy like Micah Parsons? I don't know. I think Dallas is in a really tricky situation. They need a turnaround season after last year. But are they going to be able to do it? With what? What do they have that they could do it with? This only added to it. So, yeah, it sucks that they don't really see anything out of this right away. They've just got a couple draft picks, right? It's just...
And Kenny Clark, but he's not a difference maker on the defensive line. Yeah, you got a guy back, but I think the main problem... I do think this was the right move for Dallas. I do think that trading Micah Parsons was the right decision. $47 million is a lot of money, especially when you're a quarterback.
The amount of Cowboy fans who are like, what is wrong with you right now?
Especially... Okay, well, this is... a laundry list of problems for the Cowboys. The first issue was paying Dak Prescott $65 million a year. That really handicaps what you can do and probably very much affected the negotiations of this contract because you're pouring so much money into your quarterback, which is fine, but Dak Prescott making the most money out of anyone in the National Football League is a bit off. And that's not to say Dak's great, but...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I need to see what a Dallas team looks like without Dak.
Yeah, and the thing is that again handicaps a lot of the contracts you can give out. But my main problem is who you're trading him to. You're trading him to the Green Bay Packers, an in-conference rival, a rival that has owned you in the playoffs, has been spoiler to many Dallas postseason runs. This is the team that the Dez caught at moment. And this is a Packers team that has caused so much sadness for Cowboys fans in general. So... I don't agree with trading him to Green Bay. I'm sure you could have traded him someone in the AFC, so that maybe that way you can only see him once every 4 seasons, barring you get to the Super Bowl. But let's be honest, that's not happening. But I do think on the Green Bay end of things and the Micah Parsons end of things, this also makes a ton of sense for them. I said last week that Green Bay was my pick for the NFC North, and this further reinforces that. The Lions are just such a question mark on the coaching staff with the departure of Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, and I'm ready to trust Matt LaFleur more, and if Jordan Love can stay healthy, I think the Packers have a really, really solid team, and then they can take the North. I think they're the safest pick right now.
The NFC North is just so intense.
You don't know what the Vikings are going to be.
You don't know the Vikings. You don't know the Bears. There's so many question marks there. The Lions, so good last year. Like you said, the coaching changes is really the biggest reason anybody has question marks about them. And the Packers, I just feel like have been on the verge of trying to they're so close to something great, and they're historically a great program, and I feel like they're so close to feeling that again. I don't know. It's really interesting. I do think it's crazy that out of all the teams, that's where Micah Parsons.
Yeah, that's like trading. That's like
a really solid
it's
point.
Like not as much as trading him to like the Eagles or the Commanders, but it feels like it because that's one of your NFC rivals that you've had playoff games against, and so and we're gonna get to see Micah Parsons again. I know we talked about the NFC North there. Mm-hmm. Well, the Packers and Lions are gonna face off in Week 1.
Can you believe that's a Week 1 game?
Yes, and
we have some insane Week 1 games.
Great Week 1 games, and so. That's going to lead us right into our NFL Survivor pick of the week. If you're not familiar with NFL Survivor, you pick one team that you think is going to win that week, and if you get it right, you move on to the next week. But the catch is you cannot pick that same NFL team again for the rest of the season. So you got to be economical with your picks, but you also have to be smart so you don't get out, because if you get it wrong, you're out for the whole season. And so I'll just start here. I think the Broncos versus the Titans is a good Week 1 pick. It's safe, I feel like. You got a rookie quarterback, granted the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, but the Denver defense, man, they are good, and Sean Payton has had all offseason to prepare, and Bo Nix in the second half of last season looked really great, and so I think the Denver offense can definitely get something going against the Titans, and that defense should be able to contain Cam Ward and the Titans. So Broncos are going to be my pick for NFL Survivor Week 1.
Going Sydney, with a safe bet. Have you ever been to Vegas? That's my question to you.
I have, actually.
You got to learn to roll the dice a little bit.
I actually wasn't legally allowed to roll the dice because I wasn't 21 yet.
Okay, you need to, then technically you haven't been to Vegas. If you haven't been when you're 21 plus, you haven't been to Vegas. So we got to change that.
Okay, Sydney, I think you are rolling the dice, though.
I am totally rolling the dice here. I'm picking the Chargers over the Chiefs. Wow. I know it's very out there. I think obviously the Chiefs are always a team that's going to be so good. As long as they have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes there, it's hard to ever bet against them. But I just think this is such a statement game for Jim Harbaugh to make with the Chargers. And I don't know. I like them for some reason. My gut just said it's risky, but do it. So here we are. We'll see what happens, but I'm rocking with the Chargers.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Sydney Wicker has been eliminated
from, Week 1
from the NFL Survivor.
If Sydney is getting eliminated, so am I, because
you guys are crazy.
I also picked the Chargers, and a trend that I've noticed with the Chiefs is they start off the season pretty slow.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't really get their momentum until 3 or 4 games in. And so that is why I picked the Chargers. I also just really like this team. I feel like they are on the cusp of being a really good team. Last season, they did drop some close games, and they have talent. They have a solid quarterback in Justin Herbert, and I like their wide receivers. Ladd McConkey, I got him on my fantasy team. He was really good last season as a rookie, and so I think this team has a lot of momentum going into this game against the Chiefs, so that is why I picked them. I'm rolling the dice, and I hope I win.
Let's go. I hope we're both big winners.
Me too.
And I hope you guys are too. I want everyone to be alive for as long as possible, and who's to say that the Cam Ward can't come out here and just absolutely
I know. I'm like,
shred
Ethan,
the Broncos.
You better watch it. You
and
never know.
I was kind of debating this morning, should I just pick the layup with the Eagles and the Cowboys? But, division games scare me because they can go either way.
They can.
And so just
I will say I almost picked Commanders over Giants. I think that
one's pretty safe. That one's pretty safe as well. The Giants have some pieces, and they're just fun. Jameis Winston and Jackson Dart, they were getting with it in the preseason.
Nobody scares me more than Jaden Daniels right now, though.
Oh yeah, and they got Terry McLaurin signed. They got Debo now over there. So the Commanders
ruined me last year. So
yeah. I think if you're looking for a layup, I think the Eagles over the Cowboys is good. Commanders over the Giants, like Sydney said. The Dolphins over the Colts is a good one. Daniel Jones is starting out there, and we've seen him for 5 years in the NFL, so we can kind of make a safe bet there. But the Dolphins don't stick out to me as someone who can dominate, but I think that's a solid pick as well. So yeah, if you're in a Survivor League, it's going to be tough. Week 1 is always, you never know what's going to happen. So it's one of the hardest weeks, and you hate to be one and done. So you really want to make that right pick. But heading into our other game, we did do our fantasy draft over the weekend here at KCEN. And guys, how are you feeling about your teams?
I love my team. I know that you have been hating on me.
I'll talk about your team later, but go ahead.
You were hating on me before the show because I have a couple rookies on my team that are Big 12 legends, but I am not giving up on them.
Sarah is a Big 12 girly stan.
The confidence that I instill in my players every week, I hype them up through my screen, will give them the confidence.
Feel that.
They can. We'll give them enough points to do really well. I got solid. I got Amon Bra. I got some line members on my team. I also have Sam Laporta. I got Brock Purdy as my quarterback. He did great for me last season.
Nice.
2 years ago, he did ruin me by throwing 4 interceptions against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and I ended up losing in the playoffs, but I have to trust my GOAT.
Yeah, I feel like that's really fair. I like my team too. I feel like we're rocking. I picked Christian McCaffrey, which a lot of people are like so questionable about that, but I had
right pick.
I had the 5th pick. He was the best on the board in the moment. I wanted Jahmyr Gibbs, and
I wonder who drafted Jahmyr Gibbs right before
in
you,
front of
Sydney.
me. But yeah, I like C-Mac. I think he's coming into his first dad season. Like, I feel like dads always ball out a little bit more. Yeah, and like, I don't know. I have a good feeling about him. But overall, yeah, I like my team. I'm trying to pull up my fantasy right now.
I also think it's a trend in general when an athlete is a new parent, they always perform really well in sports for a period of time. Think about when former Dallas Maverick Luka Doncic had his daughter. Mm-hmm. He had great games after that, hitting 60 points, just incredible games. So hopefully Christian McCaffrey can channel the same energy on the field.
Yeah, well, I mean, while you guys like your fantasy teams, I think I'm winning the league, actually, because I have Jahmyr Gibbs and Bucky Irving as my running backs and Omarion Hampton at my flex. And this is a 16-team league, by the way. So to get 3 starting running backs, 2 elite ones for sure, and Gibbs and Irving. We don't really know about Hampton yet, but Jim Harbaugh loves to run the ball, and he got his guy because he picked this dude in the first round. Jim Harbaugh is such an
old-fashioned style coach. Like, he really is like a defense and run game. Like, that's what you're going to get out of a Jim Harbaugh team is tough football.
Yeah, and with the 16-team league, you're not going to have strong points everywhere. I think my receivers are lacking a little bit. I have Ricky Pearsall and Emeka Egbuka starting this week for me. And, yes, another Buckeye, a Buckeye, yes, okay. But I also have Rashee Rice for whenever he comes off the suspension list in 6 weeks.
I also do not take people who are suspended for any times during the season. I heard that's ridiculous.
Yeah, Rashee Rice, he'll be back and be good. But a lot of people have been giving me hate in the KCEN station for having Geno Smith as my quarterback.
I don't give any hate to quarterbacks unless you take one in the first or second round.
Then some people did.
Adrian, we'll get to Adrian.
Jeezo Pete taking
Josh Allen
right away, like
in the second round, guys.
He said it was a part of his strategy. And I was like, is depth not a part of your strategy? But
no,
I know I've only won fantasy twice in my life. So.
Yeah, and Sydney, that kind of segues into our next thing. Who do you think is the worst fantasy team? Do you think it's Adrian?
I'm calling out Adrian, of course. Taking Josh Allen, taking a quarterback whenever that really is insane to me. Yeah, I'm trying to pull up his team right now.
Yeah, so he's got Josh Allen, who's great. He has Puka Nacua as his first pick, which was good. But he has both Chiefs receivers that aren't Rashee Rice. So he has Worthy and Hollywood Brown. Evan Ingram at tight end is fine. But his running backs are Chuba Hubbard and Jerome Ford.
Running back room took it.
And he doesn't have any depth.
Yeah.
I mean, the best person on his bench is probably Aaron Jones. And he's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we didn't, like, just a season ago, we didn't even see the best Aaron Jones. So I don't know.
I actually play Adrian week 1
I know, week 1,
well.
And you're projected to lose right now. So
I don't know why.
Emeka Egbuka, let's see how that balls out for you.
So no, it'll be fine. My running backs will get it done. And Geno. Geno's projected way low, but hear me out on Geno. Every
he plays
season,
New England, so that's pretty good.
I feel like that's a pretty good matchup. And every season that he's been with Pete Carroll, he's finished a top 10 fantasy quarterback, and they love to throw the ball. We got Brock Bowers, Amari Cooper, Jacoby Myers, Jack Besh, TCU guy. So, and plus Genty's going to balance out that offense really well. So I'm very high on Geno Smith. If you watch last week's episode as well.
I also just think people don't give quarterbacks. I love having Josh Allen because I feel like he's one of the quarterbacks who usually does do a little bit better. Like we're talking like anywhere between 28 to 30 points. But for the most part, you're getting a quarterback that's averaging anywhere between 18 and 25 points. So like just take whoever. As long as they're a starter, you should be good.
Yeah, and I don't mind taking a quarterback early if you want to get one of those elite guys. But the reach that Adrian did was pretty crazy.
I think Josh Allen would have been available in the 3rd or 4th round.
Oh yeah, I don't think a lot of people would have picked him. But
that pick did give us an opportunity to pick up some key wide receivers and running backs early, though. So
yeah.
That did provide some relief.
Sarah, who do you think has the worst team?
I am sorry to do this to Samantha.
Oh no, Samantha!
But I have to do it because her kicker is Jake Moody, and
don't say that around Sydney. It's a Michigan guy.
Okay, I know,
and
but
he did really great in college.
He was a little too great for where we drafted him.
But he has provided a lot of heartbreak for us 49ers fans from missing field goals that are crucial, that you should not be missing. So that is the heartbreak
Your game
factor.
also shouldn't come down to a kick.
Okay, but it's going
that's
to.
Crazy.
Like, at least 4 games a season is going to come down to a kick for each team. That's just how it goes. Goes. But hopefully Jake Moody can have a bounce back year. But I see Samantha also is not an avid sports watcher, so she kind of picked her team off of names. So,
vibes, nothing but vibes.
So she's got good vibes going on over there. So maybe she can.
I do like Jordan Love. Jordan Love is a great quarterback. I think a lot of good things are coming out of Green Bay. Ashton Genty, I think he could be a great running back, but you also don't really know what to expect out of rookies. So I think it's just kind of a coin flip.
Yeah, but Sarah, I'm going to direct the attention over to your fantasy team because I think you have the worst team in the league.
So rude.
Look, you got some.
You just can't even objectively say that.
Can I explain?
No, I'm not sure.
Brock Purdy is a good fantasy quarterback. I'll give you that. James Cook, good running back. Amon-Ra, amazing wide receiver 1.
So what do you hate?
I hate that R.J. Harvey is your running back 2, unproven rookie. Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields is throwing him the ball.
She likes to gamble.
We like to see. We've seen how Justin Fields operates, and he is not very accurate. So I wouldn't touch Garrett Wilson. And then you have Cam Scatabo at flex. I don't think he's fast enough to produce at the NFL level. Tyrone Tracy is also in front of him in New York, and that's already not a great offense that you're going to. So and then your depth is absolutely cooked. I'm looking at your bench, and there is some actual I don't know. I don't think it's going to end well for you this season, Sarah.
Well, we'll just have to replay this moment when I start doing well.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be saved, so we'll see how.
Play this back and show Ethan what's up.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
I just think you're absolutely insane and incredibly wrong for thinking I have the worst team.
And that's going to happen on this show, guys.
What people don't know is that they have couples therapy scheduled after this. So
I know.
Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble for calling out the fantasy team.
As you
for
should.
Sure.
It's really been affecting my mental health.
It's been affecting my mental health.
Okay, but it all starts tomorrow night, guys, here on KCEN with the Cowboys and the Eagles. But let's go ahead and turn it over to the NBC guys to give us some insight on the matchup.
I mean, starting the NFL season with the Eagles and the Cowboys. These two brands going head-to-head in very different places. Cowboys, they got a new head coach. Eagles coming off the Super Bowl. Top thing comes to mind for you.
Cowboys defense, they didn't get better this offseason. You look at the interior of that defensive line, they're not very big. They average probably around 280, 285, and Philly's just too physical offensively, Coach.
Absolutely. If I'm the Eagles, I'm running right at that small group. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, you're going to be upset because you are going to catch a pass. We're going to run 50 times right up the middle.
And I actually got questions about their secondary, too, at the cornerback position, an inconsistent play there. But they're also missing their best linebacker, Demarion Overshown. That's going to be a problem.
They may be picking Philly, I think. We'll catch you guys 7 p.m. Eastern time for Football Night in America on NBC.
Well, I'm hyped for that game for sure tomorrow night.
I mean, the music just got me so excited.
It's finally all the way back. We've had high school, we've had college, and now the NFL is back. So it's all here, and we're gonna be set through fall. And after the game on Thursday on KCEN as well, we're gonna have Thursday Night Lights coverage. Sydney?
Yeah, of course. Lots of games to get to. We're gonna see Marlin and Midway once again in action this week. So we'll have all those highlights, and of course a post-game interview with the game-winning coach as well. So can't wait for Thursday Night Lights. And what better way, like after you have your first NFL game, like let's go to your local high school games.
Yeah.
Let's hear from them too. So all the football coverage, it doesn't stop there. And then of course we hope you join us on Friday for week 2 of our Friday Night Lights matchup. We're going out to Leo Buckley Stadium again. Ellison and Killeen will go head to head in our game of the week matchup. And as Coach Sadler would call it yesterday, the original Killeen rivalry going down in that one. So it should be good.
Yeah, and then it's not over either on KCEN as Sunday Night Football is back. Bills-Ravens. It's going to be an incredible game. There's so many good Week 1 games, and one of our producers here at the station is a big Ravens fan, so we'll probably have him on next week to discuss what happens. And he might boycott if they lose. So we're going to try our best to force him to come on next week to the show. But for this week, that's all we got. Sarah and Sydney, thank you for joining me here.
Of course,
it was great to talk some college, some NFL, and get some insight on our games that we're going to be doing and covering all season long here. But that's going to do it for this week on KCEN Kickoff. We will see you next week.